And there we are, that red light meaning that we're live. So let me do my little intro and then I'll come on and let the ladies do their intro. Hello, everyone. I am Paul Wizzo and want to welcome you out to Wizzo Talk. Whether you catch it live or you catch it the replay, just remember it is 100% free, absolutely free to like, share, and subscribe. You like to subscribe to Wizzo Talk, the link is strolling across the bottom of the screen, or you can find it in the description. You hit that once you subscribe. Just make sure you hit that notification bell because I'll post my guest availability rather than on a fixed schedule. And if you like to be a guest, by all means, send me a message, carry a pigeon, smoke signal, or whatever you got to do, and we will get you on the show as a guest. And don't worry about a topic because I keep plenty of them. So we're gonna meet our guests and we're gonna get this thing on rolling. Let's come up with Miss Maddie.
Okay. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me good?
We hear you good.
Okay. So I am a veteran. I retired with 20 years and I turned author. So I write nonfiction books. I write about what's going on in my life. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, we're
Okay.
here.
All right. And before we meet our next guest, let me ask you, just tell me about everyone about the pictures in the background that I see up there.
Okay, so my last 5 years in the military, I worked at White House Communication Agency from 2005 to 2010. And it was under President Bush and President Obama term. So I got pictures with them.
All right, cool. That's what's up. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And let's come on down here and meet Miss Renee.
Well, hello. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Okay, my name is Renee White. I am a retired Sergeant First Class from the U.S. Army. Background is 94 Bravo / 92 Golf. And I am just glad to be here.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, I have this in my questions about that 94 Bravo 92 and all that. But I'm not going to ask that yet. I'm going to wait before I ask that. So I'm going to go and try to follow my little list. So, ladies, I have about like 10 or 12 questions to ask y'all just to share with the world, some of your experience, from the military. And so I already heard you say one of them I was going to ask was what branch of service you in. But first, let me say this. I've never been in the military. So if I say something wrong or out of order that's not with the military or something, just let me know. Say, Paul, remember, I'm a civilian. So I don't know about the Bravos and the Mikes and Charlies and Zulus and all that. So, but
Yeah.
anyway. So you already told me, you both told me, number of years you served, both been in the Army, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So let me ask you, so countries that you've toured, let me start with Renee. Tell us about, how many countries you've toured or uh, continents or cities, towns, states, zip codes, or however it's said.
Okay. So the countries I toured, well, I signed a contract back in 1983 when I was
Ooh,
in high school. But I took off. I did 6 years in the reserves. So in my reserve time, I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, which I also had another MOS. I just forgot. I was a 75 Bravo then, which is a
Oh, wow.
personal admin specialist.
right.
But my active duty career took off in 1990. And at that time, I changed my MOS to a 94 Bravo, which is food service.
Okay.
So my tours consist of, starting from 1990, is Germany, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, then from Saudi Arabia to Bosnia, to Paris, to back to Iraq, to Kuwait, to the Operation Iraqi Freedom 3 times.
3 times.
um,
Wow.
Okay.
yeah, Bosnia, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
And
the gist of it.
and let me ask you this, and then I'll ask Maddie the same question. So if you had to choose one, or if there was a choice to be one favorite place, I mean, I know you're in the service, so I don't know if it is a favorite place, but where would that be and why?
My
You,
favorite place, you talking about for deployments or just duty stations?
Just duty stations.
Okay, so my duty stations consist of Germany. I was in Würzburg, Giebelstadt, Hanau, Fliegerhorst, Ansbach. For 10 years, I spent a lot of time in Germany. And then I was at Fort Benning for a brief second and Fort Hood twice. And if I should say my best duty station is Germany, hands down.
Okay.
I love everything about the culture, everything.
Okay. All right. Let me come up to Miss Maddie and ask her what the same, number of countries you toured and, which one's your favorite duty station. I see that I asked, those are two different types of questions there. I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes. So my first duty assignment was in Shape, Belgium. As a private, they sent me overseas by myself and trying to navigate the rail system out over there. But anyway, I made it to my destination finally. But so Belgium was my first duty assignment. And then after that, I went to the Pentagon. And then from the Pentagon, I went to Korea, to Pyeongtaek, Korea. Um, and then from Korea, I came back to Fort Belvoir. And then from Fort Belvoir, most of my assignments was East Coast. And then from Fort Belvoir, I left and went to Turkey. And Turkey was my best assignment. I really enjoyed myself at Turkey. I got my bed. My bed is from Turkey. It's that real raw iron. Yeah. So it was really nice. And they make anything for you. They customize anything.
All right, outstanding. Y'all touring the whole world. So let me say this right quick. Look like someone's already saying hi to you, Maddie. So
Oh, okay.
I want to thank all of our viewers that's watching right now. And if you have any questions for our guests, please put them in the chat and I'll share them on the screen and they'll see about answering them the best way they possibly can. So we appreciate you tapping in. If you'd like to subscribe, the link is in the description. Okay, so appreciate you sharing that, lady. So let me ask you this. So what inspired you to join the military and how did your family and friends react? And Renee, I know you just said you was back in somewhere in the 80s and I didn't ask Maddie, but let me come up to Maddie and see what inspired you to join the military and how did your family and friends react?
Well, when I started off on Section 8 on welfare,
Mm-hmm.
and I was moving up. It got to the point where I was getting like $17 worth of food stamps, and I was like, you know what? No, I don't need to be doing all this paperwork and giving you all my business for $17. I can fork up the money. $17. So eventually, I decided that I wanted to get into the military. My dad retired from the military. So I
Okay.
already had that kind of instilled in me when I first went in. I was like, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to retire just like my dad did. And so I already had in my mind to retire. So every obstacle that I went through, I always had that in my mind that I wanted to stay in, that I wanted to get to the point where I could retire from the military.
Okay, so you had dad was in and family and friends support right there with you. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Miss Renee, what inspired you to join the military and how did the family and friends react to that?
Oh, well, inspired me to join the military. Well, I was doing too much when I graduated from high school. Well, my high school, I was in JROTC in high school. So I did have a little military background, being an ROTC cadet in high school. But upon graduation, I went to college. I was working at McDonald's. I was partying in the streets, having a good old time. And, my mother was seeing all this stuff. She said, "Oh, you're doing too much. You're
Yeah.
going to have to pick a choice: school, partying, McDonald's." I was still living at home. So I was like, you know what? When I graduated from high school, I went straight into the reserves. So, I was a weekend warrior. So I was still, I was doing weekend warrior, working at McDonald's, clubbing, going to college. She was like, "No,
Uh,
you're doing too much." So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? After my 6-year contract up, I'm going active duty. I'm getting away from California. I'm getting away from family. I'm just gonna go full time. And that's what I did. I came back and said, I'm gone. I'm leaving house. And she
Deuces.
said, okay, deuces. So that's what I My mother said, "Deuces, that's good." So yeah, the family, they were hating, they were mad. Oh, she leaving? I said, yes, I'm leaving. I didn't think I was gonna go to Germany first. I thought I was just gonna go, and stay in the United States. But no, my army career started in Germany. But I was happy. I was out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I know you like right now, and you still outgoing, having fun, doing whatever. And we ain't gonna get all that, let all the world know all that right there. But
No, no.
having a good time.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. So let me ask you all this. So you joined the military. It's your first day in, I guess, basic training or whatever, or your first day after, I don't know, because like I say, I'm a civilian, so I don't know, but it's your first day, you're not at home no more, you're over there. What is it like, Renee?
Oh, my first day out of basic or my first duty station? Duty
Well,
station.
just first day period, because like I say, I'm a civilian, so I don't really know how to answer this question. So I just want to know from the first day you didn't left here, and the first day you didn't wind up over there, meaning
Oh,
your
okay.
duty station or in the military period.
Oh, okay. So my first, but by the way, I did basic training twice because
Oh,
I took a 6-year gap between 6 years reserves and then 6 years active duty. So I had to do basic training twice,
Oh
which
wow.
led me to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, which also that's how I end up with being a cook in the military. So my first day, it was hard because I was 26 on that second run going into the army. So I kind of like not older, but I knew some things. But the first thing in Germany, when I got to Germany, baby, it was cold. It was 10 degrees. And I was a private with my 2 duffel bags. I never been overseas or nothing. And when I got to that unit, they said, "Oh, you ain't got to worry about packing because you're on your way to war." I looked,
golly.
I said, "I'm
Wow.
cool. I'm not going nowhere." So I was very defiant. How you gonna send somebody to Germany with 2 duffel bags and a rucksack and say, don't worry about unpacking. You headed to war." So that was my experience. I had to
Man,
I had to go to war.
from home to war. God, oh,
Oh,
okay.
it didn't.
Miss Maddie,
Yeah.
same to you. What was it like? First day, you're here, and now you're there.
You know what? I was an only child. So my first, oh, just a moment, my battery's coming out. Okay. So my first experience in the military was awful.
Mm.
I was not used to people yelling at me and telling me, to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And, I was the type of kid that smiled all the time. And they were like, "What you smiling at me for, private? Give me 50, whatever." It was like I was always getting smoked. And because I always was smiling at them, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't, I wasn't trying to fraternize with them or anything. It's just, I just had that kind of personality. And I'm telling you, they got me in shape. They got me in shape. AIT, we used to walk to school and they had me running around the formation while they walk into school. Oh my God. It was awful. But I said I was gonna stick with it. So I did.
First day in, and you already catching smoke.
Yeah. Oh, and let me tell you, when I got assigned to the White House, I was coming from Georgia, and I'm thinking, oh, they said this is, this assignment's for the elite, so I'm like, yeah, okay, I made it. And I got there and they gave me steel toe boots, overalls, and a tool bag. And I said, wait a minute, what are we going to be doing with all this stuff? And they said, you're going to be carrying your own equipment. I was like, we don't got people to do that for us? We're in the White House, No, we were the laborers.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, oh my gosh. And I ended up injuring my back my last year in the
Yeah.
military.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ooh-wee. All right then. So, all right. Well, let me clear my throat. So let me ask you, ladies. Like I say, I have about, I don't know, about like 10 questions, ladies, for you to share with the world, and anything else that you might want to add, feel free to go ahead and add to that. I know somebody has to get to a dance shortly, so I want to make sure they don't go over too much of their time on that. So let me ask you this here. So can you describe a moment during your service that you felt especially proud to be a woman in uniform? Anything that just made you feel, you know, I don't want to say that I'm the shit, but just something that just made you feel proud to be in uniform. It could be one or anything, or if nothing.
You yeah.
We'll go with let's anyone of y'all want to go first? Somebody saying hello, cuz. Look like somebody got some family in here.
Yeah, I sent out I sent it out.
Okay, that's good.
So,
That's good. Appreciate y'all
so
tapping in. But go ahead.
yes. So it was being a female in the military back then was a little bit rough. I'm sure it was rough earlier, but it was like the males was always in competition. It was like they didn't expect that much from us. And so I always felt like I had to prove myself, like I had to show that I was capable of doing whatever job they were capable of doing. I felt like I was always trying to prove myself. It wasn't automatically earned. It was always questioned. Can you handle this position? Can you do this like this other person, this other soldier, or what have you? So that's my take on being a woman in the military. It has its ups and downs, but for the most part, yeah, it was challenging.
Right. Okay. So no proud, like something that just made you feel really proud to be in the military at one moment. I mean, I know
Well,
both of y'all have.
when I got selected to be in the White House, that was
Okay.
an honor. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's what's up. Miss Renee.
What I felt honored about being in the military, being in the food service industry as a cook, we took care of each other. I had in my tenure, I had like over 100 cooks, and I
Mhm.
took care of them like they were my daughters and my sons. And we as cooks, we had each other six, no matter what. When it came to working with the unit, because cooks we're isolated from the unit, so we created our own family where we got the mission accomplished, and we also took care of each other on the side. But when I felt proud when I was able to take care of all my soldiers with all their problems, dealing with all
Mhm.
their family issues. I felt proud and I felt glad to be a part of I was doing something to help somebody.
Right.
And I had my soldiers back no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. And they appreciate it. They call me Big SARS. Some of them call me uh that that B because I was stern, but I was fair. But at the end,
Yeah.
even if you was a knucklehead, you got took care of by Big SAR, for Class White. I had all kinds of names, but I do feel good as a proud woman in the military because I took care of our
Right.
peoples.
That's what's up.
And
That's what's up. Maddie, you want to give a shout out to your fam right there? I see everybody tapping in, saying,
Yeah,
look, we
I
still
don't
in
know how to
prayer.
do it. I've been trying to figure out how to respond to their messages.
You could just do it verbally, because when you post, it came to me in the private chat.
Oh,
So,
okay. So
uh,
hey, Lamar, that's my biological cousin. And then Johnny White is a friend. Um, Jr. Junior Vibes is a friend.
okay,
Alan Backkick he's a friend. So yeah, I had just sent out the invite.
okay. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate y'all tapping in as we talking with these ladies here, these military ladies. Okay, so let me ask you this here. So, what challenge? And I think, Maddie, I think you hit on this when I hear a little bit. And like I said, these just some questions that I just kind of came up with, and a couple other people gave me a couple of questions. So, if anyone in the chat have a question for these ladies, let me know, and I'll share it up on the screen also. So, what challenges have you faced as a woman in the military? And how did you overcome them?
Um,
And I think I heard you. Oh, Renee, let's go with you first.
What challenges
You know,
and how did I overcome
yeah.
them? There's a lot.
Well, you can just give me whatever you want to give me.
Um, the many challenges. No, I'll just say one. I believe trying to be well military back in our day. We had to do dual jobs, meaning we have to be a soldier and we have to be ready to go to war, and then we have to do our job, which is our MOS. So the challenging part of trying to get to trying to get the soldiers to understand we had dual responsibilities, and it was hard for them. After cooking 8 to 12 hours a day, now we have to go play soldier, do PT, go shoot the weapons, go to the field. So there was a challenge letting the leadership know we're tired. We done fed you 3 meals and a cot, and now we got to go play army and be a soldier to get ready to go to war wherever
Yeah.
we're going. So that was very challenging. Getting the leadership to understand the dual responsibilities that we carry, but we was able to come. I was able to get good leadership that understood our dilemma, and they was
Okay.
able to work with us, so half be a soldier, half cook, and we just switched, and it
Right.
all worked out in the end. So we tried to be able to accomplish the mission, both soldier side and the food
Let me
service
turn
side.
my, let me close my door.
So
Okay.
yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And before I go get to Maddie, let me just go back to one question. So you left from what home or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you got two backpacks or whatever, and you going to war.
Mm-hmm.
Is
I
that
went
what
to
you said?
Operation Desert Shield, 1990, but I coming straight
So
out of basic training. Mhm.
I mean, hey Maddie, I'm gonna come back to you to that challenge question just a minute, but I just had to ask Renee. Renee, so what are you going through? I mean, what's going through here? I'm going to war. What? I ain't signed up for that, but I did. But I mean, what's your mind like right then at that point?
Oh, I was going crazy. I was out of my mind. I was in tears. I never hit the snow. They dropped me off in that cold ass weather and gonna tell me I'm going to war. No, the hell I'm not. I just got here. First of all, I'm lost, and you dropped me in a foreign country. So my mind, I was angry. I was upset. I was like, did I make the right decision? I was questioning my decision. I was calling home. I was ready to leave the military. I said, no, I'm going back home. But I was stuck in Germany. No
Mm,
money, little PFC. I ain't got no money, but I wanted to go back home. Now I really want to go back home.
yeah.
I said, no, I'm not going no damn body's war. I didn't even know it was a war going on until we landed in Germany because they kept it from us in basic training AIT.
Mm.
It was a war this, and I didn't even know. I said, I'm not going, no, I'm going home. So I was crazy. My mind, I was out of my mind.
Yeah. Man,
I was
that's
out. I was, yeah.
all right. Cool. I had to just touch base on that. So let me ask Maddie about that. What challenges have you faced? In the military, and how did you overcome them?
You know, I think one of the most of the assignments that I had was, like I said, on the East Coast, and so it was a lot of my duty assignments was political. It was like there were, I'm not gonna say cliques, but it was very, you had to be one of the envoys, or whatever you want to call it, in the clique or whatever, in order to move up. If you were by yourself solo, you wasn't going to really make it. You wasn't going to advance in the military. You had to be a team player, lead by example, not try to tell people what to do and you not do it. So leading by example, and help, like Renee has said, you know, helping the soldiers, you get that you get that what do you call it? You get that satisfaction of helping somebody, being able to get to have a solution for someone. So and you know, I get that same thing when I go, like I go every first Sunday, I mean every first Saturday to Gatesville prison and talk to the women there. And you know, it feels so good. It's scary going in there and you're hearing the gates close behind you, but you know that you're giving somebody some hope, that you're letting them know that you've been in that situation, because I have been to jail 3 times before. I haven't been to prison, but I've been to jail. So knowing that you can become somebody. Your past does not define you. So
Right. Okay, that's what's up. All right, appreciate that. So let me ask you my next question here then. So is there one person that, like your rock, that one person in the military that if you have to talk to somebody uh, about anything that's going on in your mind, that you'll go to? Who is your go-to person, or who was your go-to person since y'all retired? Or did you even have a go-to person? Did you just keep everything in? So let me just come up to Maddie on this here. I mean, who did you call when you needed to talk to somebody? Was it a sergeant or major or captain, private? I don't know. I'm just
no, I pretty much kept stuff in, and just try to do my best. Try to do and be where I'm supposed to be, and do what I'm supposed to do. That's how my motto was, in the military. Just do what you're supposed to do, and lead by example.
okay. All right, Renee.
Um, my time in Germany, I had my battle, what I call my battle buddy. She wasn't. We didn't have the same MOS. She was medical, and I was a cook. Her name is Valencia Morel. So she would be my sounding board to bring me down when I was in Germany. And then when I got to Fort Hood, 1997, my bestie, we both were cooks, we both were sergeants. Her name is Jackie White Tofree. That's who I vented to. That's who I told everything, bad, good, and indifferent. And she helped me, my mental state, and bring me down. So I would call her and vent and cuss and fuss, and then she would help me. And
That-
then I'll be able to get back on track, and then I'm able to soldier again. So those two, my ride or dies.
right. You can't tell me you cuss. I don't believe that. I just
Oh,
ain't believing that.
yes. I was a sailor, cussing sailor.
All right, all right, ladies. I have probably about like 6 more questions. Renee,
Okay.
make sure you let me know that if you have to jet, because I know you got something else. So, if what advice would you give to a young woman considering to join the military in this day and time? Because I know it's down in my list to ask that the military has changed a lot from what I've heard because I've never been in. But what advice would you give to a young woman considering to join the military in this day and time? Let's go with Renee.
What advice would I give a young female soldier
Yeah.
at this army?
Let me say this thinking about joining the military or whatever, not a soldier yet, but she's a
Okay.
young female and she haven't, let me set it up here, haven't done any RTC or any of that stuff, but she's talking to you and she know that you've been in or know that y'all been in, and she's like, I'm thinking about joining the military. So what advice would you give to that young woman right there?
Um, First of all, we come from two different types of militaries. I'm gonna say that, just say
Yeah.
that. But I will encourage her. I do believe if you don't have nothing, I do believe the army is the first choice. I also would tell her, have a plan, because you need to have a plan, you need to have a focus, and you need to have a goal.
Mhm.
And you need to pick the right MOS that's gonna help you when you get out of the military, that's gonna help you in the civilian world.
Right.
So don't just pick anything. Now, if you desperately need to come in the army, and they give you the lowest MOSs,
Uh-oh.
then by all means take that MOS. But you can change your MOS. You can progress while you in, but don't go in there thinking you're gonna party and have a good time. You can do both, long as you take care of business, and then you still can party, because we party hard, but we got the mission done. And I just say, take advantage of what they offer you. They offer you free tuition assistance. You can get your master, you can get your associates, your bachelors, your masters in the military. Help you utilize all of the agencies that the military has for you while you're in. Don't just come in there and just want to party, because there's life after the military. You're gonna have a focus. You're gonna have to work your plan, and then that plan gonna set you up for life after the military, and then it'll be Gucci.
Gucci. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Miss Maddie, what are your thoughts on that? What advice you give to a young woman considering joining the military?
Uh, what is her reasoning? What is her motive for signing up? If it's about getting money, no. If it's about getting a career that's going to lead you to retirement benefits, yeah, I would say that's a good choice. Like Renee was saying, the military is a lot different now. And I don't have that experience of the military today. I know when I was going back then, 1990 to 2010, you pretty much, when you got to 10 years, you had to make up your mind whether you was going to go the long haul, or go ahead and get out. That's the cutoff that was there. And it you have to be focused. You have to know, like Renee was saying, when I first got in, I asked what MOSs were available. One was a police, MP, and one was I think one was a cook, a MP, and then the other one was a switchboard operator. So I picked the switchboard operator because I had already had that mentality of, what if it doesn't work? What am I going to do with the knowledge that they gave me? Am I going to be able to use it on the outside? And so I picked the MOS that I thought that I could have a career in.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Making the right selection. I know that I've had a guy on before. He's retired military, a chocolate Buddha, and he's always said that if you don't have anything to do, join the military. You see you're not going anywhere or nothing, whatever. He say join the military. But Renee, from what I hear, when you was talking about after they sent you over there, you was wanting to go home. But once you sign that paper, your butt ain't going home till your time is up. But like I say, I don't know. I ain't never been in. So
Right.
So let me ask y'all this here then. So, and you've already kind of answered it a little bit, but I've always heard the military is different from back then to the way it is now. So, if y'all can just share a little bit, that you may know or may not know a difference in the military from maybe when you started to when you got out, because I hear so much has changed from guys. Who's frozen?
You were frozen.
Oh, I was frozen. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But so did you hear what I was saying though?
No.
Okay. Yeah, just trying to see if there is a noticeable difference between the military from then and now. If you can share that. We'll start with you, Maddie.
Some of the noticeable difference that I've seen is that, which is a good difference, is where they inform you more about the transition out of the military. When I was in, we didn't have that. When I was getting out, we didn't have transition information. You kind of was like, okay, your duty is over. Now you figure it out. What you gonna do? What's your purpose? Where you stand now? What's your life going to be like? And when I got out, I had already got my master's degree in the military. I went through all those education and did what I needed to do to get my associates, my bachelor's, and then my master's. So when I got out, I didn't have no more schooling that I could attend. So schooling is important. Schooling is a good benefit that the military gives you. I can't stress enough about the VA medical benefit. Because I got a lot of ailments, and I take a lot of medication, and I know if I didn't have the military, my medical expenses would be high.
Right.
It would be high. So medical benefits is a good thing that the military gives. I think that the quality of people getting into the military has changed. Back in the day when they used to say, "Oh, the soldier are disciplined," and you can't really say that now. You don't say that about the soldiers, and they don't get that extra hiring factor anymore. Because they always thought the military person was disciplined. They're going to be on punctual. They're going to be on time.
Yeah.
They don't say that kind of stuff about us no more. You know.
Okay. Renee, how's it different? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What you say?
I was just going to kind of ask the question again, but you already got it. Go ahead.
You saying the difference between an old army and a new army?
Pretty much, yes.
That's what I call it. Well, the old army, just being honest, we were disciplined. We respected the leadership. It was no stress cards. It was none of that. I come from the old army, so it's kind of different. But what I see now, it's a more, I used to say, softer, gentle army. They still soldier, but it's not as intense as it was back in that 80s and the 90s, which could be a good thing. I was raised different. I was raised with a whooping. Now you can't whoop your kids if you do the math. You see what I'm saying? So the Army the programs has improved tremendously, and the soldiers have given the new soldiers more to offer versus we didn't have that in the old Army. So that's why I encourage the young soldiers, take advantage of everything they have to offer, because the old Army, it was one way of the highway. 3 strikes and you was out. Yeah. You was fat, you was gone. So you now you can stay a little longer. You see what I'm saying? So it's more to offer, and that's why they need to take advantage, of all the opportunities the Army has now, because it wasn't like that back in the day.
Right. It's change. I've heard a lot about it, like I say, but hadn't been in, but I've heard people talk. So veterans talk about it. So let me ask you this. So have either one of you had to, I guess, command or give orders to men, and how did they, receive that? Was there any backlash, or I guess if you outrank them, they got to do what you say. So I mean, I don't know. So have y'all ever had to command over any men? Let's ask Maddie first.
Yes, I have. I've command over soldiers, airmen, and Navy soldiers, and civilians. So it's, I don't forgot what the question is.
Did you have to command over any men, and how were they reaction? How did they take that?
Once you got into your position, I was a sergeant first class, so it wasn't, if you wasn't asking anything that was immoral, and it didn't defy anybody's morality or anything, what you told the soldiers to do, they did it. There was no questioning or rebuttals, I'm from the old school. It's like we're put in that position for a reason. We've earned that position to be in authority and to be able to tell, our lower ranking soldiers or even our peers something, and they value what we say because we've earned that spot, that position.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Renee.
For me, working with men, once you proved yourself and you have your respect from the guys, I didn't have any problems. I have been in charge of dining facilities in Germany. I have been in charge of sections. I even ran a dining facility with over 100 cooks, and I had plenty of male soldiers. And I was stern, I was hard, I was stern, and I was fair. But once we had I built a relationship with my men soldiers. And once we established that relationship, they knew I knew my job. I wasn't joking. I ain't gonna play. It's a time and place to play. I'm gonna play with you, but we got to get this mission done. But they knew my mentality, and they knew I was about that life and I was about business. So they respected me. They called me Big Sarge. What you want me to do for you today, Big Sarge? You want me to go lift this tire? I go do the PMTS. Hey,
Right.
they come telling me, asking me what they can do for me to make my life better.
Right.
As I retired as Sergeant First Class, but I've been in charge ever since I was an E5. So I had male soldiers. Oh, I got Big Sarge. She ain't got to do nothing. So I had it because we had a relationship.
Right.
And they knew whenever they was down, them men was like, she got me. And I
Right.
had her. So
All right.
my life was easy when it comes to working with men soldiers.
All right, that's what's up. Okay, I'm gonna come right back to you with this question right here. So, if you can serve in the military again, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently, if anything? Renee?
Oh, he asked me first.
Yeah,
Knowing what I know now about the soldiers.
knowing what you know about the military period. So, if you can go back and do it all over again, but now you have the knowledge that you have now. So, is there anything that you would do differently, knowing what you know now, or you just kind of leave it the same?
Um, I'm being in food service, working with my 92 Bravos. I will push education on them. I will push them towards planning for the future, being ready to get out the military, set themselves up for success. That's what I would do different. I would encourage it and force it down their
All
throat.
right, that's what's up. Okay, all right, Miss Maddie, what would you do differently if you can go back and serve, knowing what you know now?
What I would do differently, I would save more money, and not be so no, and not waste so much money, because you got to save for your retirement, you know, and because one, disability and your retirement sometimes don't kick right in. There's a period where you transition out before you even get your money. So I would say definitely be prepared for that retirement. Have your money set aside, know where you're going to live, be more, have more stability about yourself, and focus on what they say. Oh, it says salute our women who serve. Oh, thank you.
Right. I, let
Thank
me
you.
mention right quick before you finish. That's Chocolate Buddha. Chocolate Buddha. I just mentioned you a little bit ago, but go ahead, Maddie. I just wanted to let him know that. Were you finished?
I was finished.
Okay. And Chocolate Buddha, I was talking about earlier how not let me back up. So let me keep going, ladies. I have about like three more questions that I want to get in, and then we'll kind of keep moving on along. If you have anything to add to that, but first, let me thank all the viewers that's watching now, or maybe watching it later. I appreciate your support. If you'd like to subscribe to Wizzo Talk, the link is in the description. And just remember, it's free, absolutely free to like, share, and subscribe. So I appreciate your support. Like to be a guest on the show, make sure you hit me up in the comments and send me a message on Messenger, and we'll get you on the show. Don't worry about a topic, because I got plenty of them. So let me ask you this. That's my little like commercial. So what do you say to someone that says women don't need to be in no military? Women shouldn't serve in the military. I mean, that's, what do you say to someone that say women shouldn't serve? And we're going to come up here to Maddie. You ain't got no right in the military. You shouldn't even be in there. What do you say to someone like that? And you can keep it G if you want to, or if you have to drop a bomb, you can. So I don't know.
We can do the job just as well as a man can, so we need to be given that opportunity as well. Now, there are some jobs that, I don't really agree sending women to war, but that's not my that's not my charge. So, but yeah, I don't think, because of the assaults and stuff that be going on out there, I
Okay.
just, I think it should be limited. It should be limited. Should we be in the military? Yes, but it should be limited on what we can do and what we can't do.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what
Renee, what do you say to somebody like that? Women ain't got no business in the military.
I believe that's wrong answer. Women can do just about everything that a man can do. We can hold our own. We hold households down. We hold jobs down. Why not can we serve in the military? I disagree. I wholeheartedly. And women, we have some great female leaders in this army that has led the military. So I strongly, if you're here for all the right reasons, yes, women needs to be right alongside their men, and they can serve proudly and gladly. No, I disagree. No, we're here and we're gonna
I
stay.
heard that, and I
We ain't
going
going nowhere.
anywhere. Appreciate the comment there, Chocolate Buddha. So let me ask you this. This is one that, you know, how do y'all learn? Renee, you come on, you was talking about 92 Bravo and MOS and ATI and PFG and HIC. And how in the heck do y'all learn all that? It reminds me of a movie with Danny DeVito in it, but I can't remember what that movie was called. But I'm gonna come to you today. So the guy come up, let's just say a sergeant, I don't know, first class, and you're a private, and he's a PFC white or whatever. I'm gonna need you to go over to the DOD, to the VFW, to the AIC, and then go back over to the YMCA. How in the hell you know what that is? You just got in. How do you learn all that shit? Do you say, Sarge, what are you talking about? How do you learn that? I'm gonna come to you first, Renee, then we'll come to Maddie, because I'm sure it was a different learning process probably for both of y'all. How's that?
During basic training, that's the military lingo. That's our language, and we're taught military language in basic training. So, PT, that's physical training. Um, Old Dark 30, that means first thing in the morning, you know. So we're taught AIT, that's advanced individual training. So we're taught that in basic training. And then when we get to AIT, that's when they teach us our military occupational specialties. Remember, that's your job you're going to do when you graduate from AIT. So they done already prep you in basic training for the battlefield. In basic training, then they send you off to advanced individual training, and then they're going to teach you the job, whether it's going to be a fueler, infantry, or cook. And they teach us along the way. So when we get to our first duty station, when the sergeants say fall in, you already know. It's embedded, instilled in your mind when you get to your first duty station.
All right.
And
Okay, Maddie, how's it for you? I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all how it probably been for me, but I'm gonna first let you go. How you?
Say the question again. Say the question again.
Talking about I guess the acronyms of 96 Bravo and MOS and ATI. How did you and the PFW and the BFG and they coming to you telling you, Maddie or Sergeant or Private, I need you over at the mess, whatever. So how do you learn that? What was your process to learning that and retaining that?
It's like Renee said, they do teach us in basic training, but you also learn more about the military when you start studying for boards and stuff, and you're trying to get promoted. You learn more of the acronyms, more of the different military lingo.
Right.
The things that you have to learn in order to be able to, function in the military. So yes.
Well, so I'm sure that they teach you, they prep you. I can see them right now prepping me, teaching me, and then I'm gonna probably say, Renee, what the heck is y'all ain't never had to ask nobody, what is the DOD and the DFJ? What is that again? Y'all just already picked up on it. Nobody had to ask nobody else again.
No.
What? Yeah, y'all good because I'd have been in trouble because I'd have sure been asking them. They've been like, Wizzo, why you not over at the YMCA? I'm like, shit, what is that? So I don't know. So anyway, ladies, I have one more question for you, and I definitely appreciate y'all time. And after you answer this question, if you like to add anything else to it, you're more than welcome to. This is kind of my last one, and it is life after the military has been what? And any one of y'all that want to jump on that first, life after the military, who's want to go first?
I would say life after the military, I'm Addie,
Okay.
was challenging for me, because like I said, when that's how that book came about, building me back brick by brick. I I injured my back and got on opioids. The doctor put me on opioids, pain medicine. And so I retired the military with an addiction, so I had to not only navigate what I was going to be doing, what my purpose was now that I'm not training for anything, that I'm not doing no physical fitness PT, now that I'm not going to the range, all those things that you got to do in order to succeed in the military. Now you're in the civilian world. What do I do?
Right.
What do I do now? And that was a hard thing for me. And being in that situation where I was addicted didn't make it easier. It was very hard to transition from the military. I was depressed. But like I said, nowadays they have programs now. They have organization in place that helps the soldiers in that area now. So because they've seen a lot of suicide, depression, um, homelessness, because they didn't have programs like this. So now that they do, it makes the transition out of the military a lot much easier.
Okay. And before I come to Renee with that same question, life after the military, Maddie, how many books do you have? Have you written already?
I've written three. I've written three books: Building Me Back Brick by Brick, which is about my struggle with addiction and how I got to a point of recovery.
Yeah.
And Silent Cry is about my journey through domestic violence and abuse.
Yeah. It's coming in a little blurry, but we can
I
we can hear the
know.
topic. Yeah.
And then last is this new one, Trauma, Healing the Wounds Within.
Right.
And you can
Okay.
find my books on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Goodreads, all the Kindle websites.
Right. And just I'm gonna just brag just for a little bit. How many books of yours have I purchased?
Three. All three of them.
And I have read all three. Well, I'm reading Trauma right now because it was the last one that you just written, and I am definitely enjoying them. So y'all make sure y'all look her up and check out those books because I'm telling you, I was like, let me go to Renee. Renee, life life after
Yes.
the military has been what?
Life after the military for me has been good. When I finally decided to retire after 26 years, that's including my Army Reserve time. My plan was to go back to school because, like I said, I didn't utilize the college programs while I was in the military because I was focusing on my job and my soldiers. So when I retired, life for me has been good. I can say I'm blessed. I retired. I haven't worked since
Oh,
2013. I've been traveling. I've been going to school. And I've just been doing me. I have been, a lot of people say you need to just digress from the military, let that military life go and to transition to the civilian world. It's still a hard sell for me because that military is embedded in you. I don't know how to be a
right.
civilian. I know how to be military. I still have that military mindset, but I have allowed myself to travel. I do what I want to do, not because I have to. And I just been doing
Yeah.
me.
All right.
So I don't have no complaints yet. I just been having fun. Retirement has
Life
been
after
great.
military is great. Okay.
Mhm.
Ladies, let me
Yeah.
tell y'all, and then I'll open this up to if you have anything closing comments. I want to tell you, both of you, that I appreciate y'all coming on and sharing your story and sharing things about the military for us, you know, and with the world, because I'm not sure how many people may watch this, but I know a lot of them can relate. I know it's a lot of veterans out there, a lot of military guys out there. Like I say, Chocolate Buddha right there is watching, and I think he's over in New Mexico, I think, somewhere like that. I don't know where he at. So, but I appreciate y'all time. So I'll open it up if you have anything you'd like to leave with the world before we go. And I'm gonna come to Renee first. And if there's nothing, then I appreciate your time and everything anyway. You got anything you want to share with anybody?
What I want to share with the world, the military is a great organization, and and I encourage anyone, male or female, to give the Army a chance because it worked out for me. Have a plan, have a focus, and don't degrade the military. Make it work for you. Like the saying in Players Club go, don't make the money, let the money make you. Make the money, don't let the money make you.
Right.
You know, you did I say it right? You
We
know what
got
I
you.
mean. But if you can't, if college is not the answer, don't knock the military. Give it a shot because it worked for me, and hey, I'm blessed to be able to be in the position I am in, and it all boils down to I chose to come in the military and stay as long as I possibly
Right.
could. So I encourage all the young soldiers, young civilians out there, give
Right.
it a try.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. That's
That's it.
Chocolate Buddha right there with that comment right there. He said the same
Give
thing
it
too.
a try.
Guys, hey, go in the military. What else is for you out there? So let me come up with Miss Maddie. What any closing comments you like to leave out? Anything at all? Share with the world.
I think any career, like the post office, the military, um, that's where it's at right now. Is working towards a career. McDonald's, all those places are a good start, but you got to think towards a career path. What you're going to do towards your career path, you know.
Right. Okay. That's all you like to leave with everybody.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hey, and once again, ladies, I appreciate y'all time. And Maddie logged on 30 minutes early. I was sitting up in the studio. She was already in here. I'm like, damn. And Renee coming on. So I'm telling y'all, I was kind of nervous at first. I'm like, oh Lord, I sure hope these ladies show up on time for me. So I ain't gonna tell y'all everything I said. No, I ain't say nothing bad. But ladies, hey, I appreciate y'all to the fullest, and hopefully we'll have you on another topic or something like that on Wizzo Talk. Until then, I am Paul Wizzo saying love, peace, and hair grease. No, I'm just holler at you, boy. I appreciate everybody watching, whether you're watching it now or whether you're watching it later.